Hey guys, thanks for coming back this weekend. I saw Alex Cross starring Tyler Perry and Matthew Fox. This is With a K review. I'm Victor. Let's get to it. So when I started seeing trailers for this movie, I really thought it was going to be about some serial killer who tortured people in like weird ways and so forth. Kind of be like that movie Seven that came out years ago with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. But I was wrong. I was extremely wrong. True. Now this movie was directed by Rob Cohen. He directed the first Fast and Furious movie. He also directed Stealth. He also directed the first Triple X movie, and he directed the last Mummy movie. So in general, I should be able to tell you this movie is action-packed and has all sorts of weird stuff, and it's supposed to be really good. So the character of Alex Cross is actually based on a detective series written by James Patterson. He wrote Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. Remember those two movies a long time ago with Morgan Freeman? They were actually really good, and I really enjoyed those. This movie, Alex Cross, is considered a prequel to those and is kind of like the origin stories of that character. So the movie stars Tyler Perry, and yes, he's the guy who dresses up as Medea, he's the guy that cross-dresses, he's the guy who's in the House of Pain, plays all those other characters, and he kind of is like Eddie Murphy in a sense, you know, copying off his career, but I don't blame him for that because he's actually making money at it and he's doing really well with it. So in this movie, Alex Cross is a detective. He also has a doctorate in criminal psychology, I believe. It really wasn't explained, but everybody just kept calling him Dr. Detective Cross in the movie, and he works for the Detroit Police Department. So in the beginning of the movie, you have Alex Cross chasing after a different serial killer, and I'm not really sure why he had to chase after that guy in the beginning, capture him. It really didn't make a lot of sense because that character is never shown throughout the rest of the movie, so I'm pretty sure it was just something for us to see, oh, he's a real badass cop too, and he's also a really good psychologist, I guess. So the first actual killing in this movie is done by the character Picasso, who's played by Matthew Fox. Now a lot of us remember him from Party of Five back in the early 90s. I remember him mostly from the TV series Lost, and he also did another movie called Vantage Point. Now the first killing in the movie, it's cool, but this is where the story starts to turn, and I'm not saying this as it turns in like, you know, the weird way. It kind of turns with all the characters, and it doesn't turn in the way that you may think. So the turn here is that everybody really starts to act like a bad version of some 80s cop show, and the whole plot really starts to look like that too. You have the pregnant wife, you have the really jerk boss, you have the partner who has kind of funny moments here and there and just kind of says stupid things. Everybody just really starts to degrade their performance, and you really don't start to see the point of anything in the movie. Even the character Picasso, played by Matthew Fox, he did a good job slimming down for the role for this character. I mean, he's really muscly, probably weighs like 120 pounds in this movie, but he's pure muscle, and the character looks like a badass. He talks kind of like a crazy guy, but you don't really start to get a feeling for him and you don't understand anything about him. I think the best way I could describe this character to you is if you think about the Bruce Willis character in The Jackal. Now that guy, you really kind of had a feeling for him. You didn't know anything about his background at the end of the movie, but you understood who his character was and you actually got a sense of how crazy he was. This movie, Alex Cross, it doesn't even get remotely close to that. Picasso character is just kind of like a caricature. That's all he really is. And the whole idea that this movie was about serial killing, it's not true at all. And I don't mean to make this a spoiler, and I really don't think it is. I've been kind of yelled at before about this. But the Picasso character, he is not a serial killer. He is an assassin. The movie trailers do not tell you exactly who this character is, trust me. So towards the end of this movie, everything really starts to fall apart, and I really was wondering why it was, because this movie had a lot of potential. I mean, you just have characters coming in and doing nothing. You have John C. McGinley coming off of Scrubs, and he's done a couple of other things, but he just literally walks into a room, makes fun of people in a very dry, sarcastic voice, just like he did on Scrubs, so it's just like seeing Dr. Cox walk into a room and make fun of people. And then you even have Jean Reno. He is one of the best actors that I've seen in a long time. He does a lot of small movies here and there, but when you see him on screen, you're like, oh boy, there's Leon from The Professional, and that guy from Ronin, the guy from Godzilla. You think of that guy all the time, and then you see him in this movie, and you're like, wow, that was really crappy. I wonder why he had an ending like that, and it doesn't make any sense why they even had him in there. They could have inserted actor whoever in this movie and it would have been better. Why take Jean Reno and put him in a craptastic movie like this? So the only saving grace of this movie really is the Picasso character. Tyler Perry really tries to act in this movie and act outside of his boundaries, but he really doesn't get there. It really just starts to sound really stupid. Every line that he says, and it gets more dumb and repetitive as it goes along. So I really can't recommend that you guys go see this movie. I'm going to give it a 0K review because I feel like I went and I wasted my money. Thanks guys again for watching my show. I really do appreciate everything, and I really appreciate all the viewers that I have. Please click in the description below if you want to see some of these actors and what they've done in the past and what they have in the future. And again, I really appreciate all you guys coming by, and thanks again for watching. And remember guys, if you don't like what you're watching, you can always turn it off. Thanks guys.